Hello, how's it going? Here is the project as it is right now. I'll just give this a second to settle in and everything, but I've made some differences. First up, some very obvious cosmetic differences. I changed the background. I realized that the original background was a little bit ow my eyes. By the way, there's a GDC talk that I watched which I really enjoyed called Critiquing Game Visuals. So if you're a non-artist and you're interested in art analysis, check out Critiquing Game Visuals. From a hue saturation value point of view, the hue is going to be locked down to a palette. I've picked like a sort of Halloween looking palette. The saturation is going to be a difference point between the background and the foreground, and the value as well. So because this is modeling a shadow box, the background should be the brightest layer, and then we'll get darker as we come towards the foreground. Now onto some other differences. You'll notice that if I walk over here to the side, the enemies get stuck on me, because what they're doing now is if I'm about the same height and at a certain distance, they will just charge towards me. And furthermore, actually I'll get into this other stuff first. I implemented some jump controls. I've got coyote time now, so if I walk off a platform, I still have a little time interval in which I can still jump. Like that. And I also implemented jump buffering. So if I'm in the air, I can hit the jump key before I hit the ground, and it'll save up that action and then jump when I hit the ground. Just like that. Which hopefully just makes the environment more fluid to traverse through. I'll pop up here, get a flower. Okay, so here's the other thing. When I've got a flower, that's my weapon, so I can then throw limes. And looking at this now, there's not a great deal of contrast between the lime and the background. I'll have to work on that. Also, that's a completely temporary sprite, but this is where I'm starting to see some cool stuff with because the limes are using the same, the limes are using the same physics system as the player and everything, so we can start to, start to have some fun with it. With the enemies as well, now when they attack, they don't just sit there attacking. I pop in, an enemy will charge at me and attack, and then walk away, so it gives me a little bit of time to respond. And what else? These jump pads are now functional, so I can pop on, boom, have some limes. Yeah. Just like that. So that is sort of where I'm at. I'm still going to make some changes, of course, and that leads me deviating away from the devlog stuff and onto more just, this is my opinion. Okay, so this is my opinion. One of the biggest components of developing this game is getting feedback. By the end of it, it won't feel like I've made a game. It'll feel like I've remade the game like hundreds of times, because feedback is really, really invaluable. That can be tough. Getting feedback can be tough, especially if it's brutal feedback. But at the same time, this is unscripted by the way, can you tell? At the same time, brutal feedback is super, super important, because that is the same instinctual reaction that players are going to have when they play your game. So as tough as it is, you really need to be ready for and encourage brutal first response feedback. If you have anyone in your life who gives you feedback, honest feedback, then you need to really treasure that, because it's actually such a fragile thing. If the relationship with the person is good, then it's fine, but in some cases, I'll get a bit personal here, in some cases I've had people in my life who once or twice gave me really brutal, honest feedback, and then I don't know, put on my Redditor hat or something, and well, actually, this is a good idea because X, Y, Z, and I argued with them. Seriously, I argued with them about honest feedback, and the fuse blew, the circuit blew. They just stopped giving honest feedback. Every time I showed them something, they say, yeah, it looks good. Do you understand what a loss that is? Especially when the person giving feedback is highly skilled, and they're giving feedback in an area that's their specialty. So that's a bit depressing, that's a bit nihilistic. Yeah, feel free to click off if you like. Here's some advice. A feedback relationship sort of has two ends. You have the person giving the feedback and the person receiving the feedback. Now, for the person giving the feedback, you may wish to deliver it as a shit sandwich. It's what it's commonly called. You've probably heard this term before. It's basically you deliver like a piece of good feedback, the brutal truth, and then you end it with a piece of good feedback. Here's an example. Your partner tells you that he wants to quit his job and pursue game development full time. He has not shipped a game. He or she, doesn't matter. They have not shipped a game. This is hypothetical, by the way. Okay, here's what you can do. Shit sandwich, layer 1. Wow, man. Wow, dude. That's a really big decision. Pretty serious. Thank you for confiding that in me. I know that mustn't have been easy. Okay. Brutal truth. In my opinion, from what I've seen, you might not be ready to quit your day job. Okay, let's round it out. Final layer. But the reason I'm saying this is because I think you've really got what it takes, and I would hate to see you get burnt out on this because you're putting all of your eggs in one basket and you're relying on this project that you're working on. Maybe after you've shipped a few games, you can revisit it. Like, it's honest. On the other side, on the side of the person receiving the feedback, because it's all well and good to use strategies to soften the blow and all of that, but not everyone is going to give nice feedback in a nice way, and you should value all feedback. So if you're putting something out there, sort of a mindset thing on your end, you need to sort of get the ego out of the way. Take it in the spirit of the person giving feedback is taking the time and the emotional energy to give feedback to you, which is really important. And as harsh as it sounds, it's probably going to be less harsh than the people who end up playing your game in the end. And if it's more harsh, then that's better, because it's preparing you. It's like resistance training. It's preparing you to deliver the best product possible. I'm not necessarily saying that all feedback is accurate, but just bear that in mind. And the last point that I'll make is there's a YouTube video out there called Allergic to Average. E.T., the hip hop preacher, allergic to average. Watch that. If you feel that you are not ready to receive honest feedback, brutal honest feedback, watch that. But that's it for now. I'm actually really happy with how it's coming along so far. A lot of those things, I thought it was going to take longer to set them up. I'm just thinking about all the debugging that I did with the other systems. It's tricky. In terms of the future things that I'm going to be doing, mostly cosmetic changes, some minor little extra features, but gameplay wise it's pretty good. I think I'm just going to throw in the arena stuff, and maybe not right now while I'm, you know, away on holiday, but maybe when I get back I'll throw in another enemy type, and then that will pretty much be it in terms of making a demo. The other stuff will be various contracts, you know, commissioning some artwork and music and stuff. I'm talking to myself, which means it's probably time to end it. So thank you for hanging out. I hope your day goes well, and I will see you again soon. Bye.